My name is Teresa Hitchens Olson. I am the Director of College and Career Access at Great River School. As Lindsay said, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about PSEO. Also kind of smushed in there is college readiness and what PSEO does and doesn't do for you versus the IB diploma. So I am looking at that from a college and career access lens. I am in my 7th or 8th year in my role. I'm obviously getting old because I can't remember. And I am a Great River alumni parent. So both my daughters have gone through this upper adolescent program as well. And fun fact, I have been here since the creation of Great River. So as a parent and then as a staff person. So I've seen it involved in many levels. So once we begin talking about this PSEO, what is it besides these really fun initials? It is post-secondary enrollment options. It was created by the state of Minnesota to give access for all high school students. It is a program that allows public and non-public students in 10th, 11th, and 12th grades to attend college while still in high school. It is free to all Minnesotans, public and private high school students. Why? PSEO was started again to give that access and that possibility of a college education, especially to those students who may not have me and that guidance counselor or college prep program in their high school, where students can apply to each PSEO approved program independently. And each one of those, very much like the college application process, has different grade point average requirements and different application requirements and different deadlines. I say that because if you write to me and say, when's the deadline for PSEO? That is a variable, and that depends where you're applying. And if you say to me, do I qualify? That depends what your grade point average is, and I can always give you that information, but Google is your best friend in that, so you can search the colleges you might be interested in. PSEO broken down, for 10th graders are only allowed to take one class. It's a career and technical education course. Again, it tends to focus on that trade and tech, and it is very limited, and it is very focused on that technical education, as I said before. PSEO opens up a bit for 11th and 12th graders. A wide variety of classes are offered, and it is really important to be aware of what the Minnesota Department of Education graduation requirements are and GRS's graduation requirements are before you pick your PSEO classes. I say that because students have taken PSEO to give them an advantage, and it has ended up kind of backfiring, and they weren't able to graduate in the 4 years. And that's a bummer for everybody, me included. Who is PSEO a good fit for? If you are someone who is excelling at high school academically, someone who's able to function and organize your time and make your own schedule, and you're highly motivated, PSEO can be a good fit for you. Seniors must be above their 50 percentile, and juniors must be above that 70 percentile for ACT or SAT courses. That said, the Minnesota Department of Education with COVID has waived that ACT requirement. Will that be waived when your 10th grader is an 11th or 12th grader? I have no idea, but that is what it is right now. And that's, so you don't have to take the ACT, but again, your GPA and kind of your adult functioning skills should be super high, because the last 2 years of Great River are super important. One, I'm really working with those juniors and seniors, as both Adam and Lindsay will tell you, practicing this muscle of adulting. So practicing the adulting muscle of, how do you make an appointment with me? How do you talk about student support? What happens if you get a D in a quiz? What do you do now? Who do you talk to? What happens if your ADHD has never been addressed in a classroom, and all of a sudden it's coming out in the middle of IB math, and you really don't know how to solve certain problems or things are happening with learning differences. All those things are super hard to do once you're in that college environment. Do student support exist? Of course. And do we work hard to make sure you know how to access them when you graduate? Of course. But again, adulting and growing up is a muscle. The more you practice it, the better you are at it. And so that is something that's incredibly important to me and something I base all my college and career readiness on. I want you to like yourself, like the world, and feel positive about it, and be able to ask for help when you get stuck. So those are big factors for me. Again, this higher executive functioning, able to navigate that, those are the PSEO students. Myths about PSEO. A lot of parents think that this is an easy admission to college. It isn't. A lot of parents think that it will lower the cost of college. Here's the trick. Colleges won't let you do what I call double dipping. So if the high school uses the credit for PSEO as a high school requirement, you can't use it for a college credit unless you plan to attend that college. For example, if you take all your classes at the University of Minnesota, and then you decide to go to Macalester, those credits, college credits, for most of the time will not count as college credits. If you decide, I want to go to the U, that's my dream school, I'm going to go there for PSEO, and then I'm going to keep going there, usually they let you keep a lot of those credits. Not always, depends on the classes. Again, that variable is different depending on the school. So do your research. It ends up, as everybody knows, I love to save money and I love free money for kids and I love to reduce debt. And I would very much tell you honestly, if PSEO would reduce debt in any way. And what I've seen is it actually increases debt for those students who could have taken IB or the IB diploma and gotten credit for that. So I just that's one of the reasons I started doing this slideshow. I just want parents to be very aware of that. Students should consider all the variables when applying. Do you need student support? Your connections for teachers of letter of rec. Teachers, the letters of rec will come from your guides. If you are not there junior or senior year, it is incredibly difficult to get that. We are at last year, $3.2 million that our seniors got that in scholarships they never have to pay back. And that is because we work really well with the guides and college admissions to show your students' strengths, even if it is not a high GPA. So I want to be very clear that we're in there to advocate for your student and to teach them to advocate for themselves, because that's super important. How to enroll in PSEO, research different colleges and universities that offer PSEO. Some of them will be online. Each will have a different application progress. Each higher education establishment will have those requirements listed on their website. So again, the U of M is a great example. You can search PSEO, University of Minnesota, and it will show you. They get money for each student that is high school that attends. So they will work with you to help get those forms in if that's the way that you want to go. Make sure you meet all the requirements listed for the Minnesota Department of Education. Those include GPA and testing scores. If you're considering PSEO, feel free to stop by my office or email me, the student here, and make that appointment so we can talk about the benefits and the risks of enrolling in a PSEO program. I also want to say, if you're taking a PSEO class online and you don't have access to a computer, that is something that a high school is legally required to provide you. So you need to let us know that. Access should not stop you from any of these benefits. If you have a 504 and an IEP, for learning difference, you can set up an appointment with student support again, at the college where you're applying and see what their accommodations are, but you are legally guaranteed that, and that's something that I will fight for till I'm old and gray, which I'm headed to. Register. All students must complete the PSEO Notice of Student Registration found at that link. Again, I'm going to share that slideshow. Another fun kind of warning, I will tell you, you are responsible for your transcript. So you are responsible for getting those college grades integrated into the Great River transcript. That is, again, something that doesn't always happen. And if when you're applying to colleges, it is your job to make sure that every class you've ever taken is on that transcript. You can request a transcript at any time and see your GPA. You can also just stop by and ask me. Admissions requirements. What are the admissions requirements that colleges use to determine who can take courses under the PSEO program? Again, I'm telling you over and over again, it varies. There's no single website that I can tell you that will list all the requirements. The University of Minnesota has certain requirements, and all the other state colleges have others. And we recommend that you check in with each of those websites. Don't assume that all colleges and universities have the same class rank. Are funds for transportation available? Yes, again, that is a legal thing, but from the Minnesota Senate and legislature, that we must provide transportation if it is impossible for a family to get there. Computers, again, for all online courses. Must school districts provide information? Again, it is legally, I am legally bound to tell you about PSEO. It says by the March, we're 14 days late, but I'm getting there. Yes, you can take courses online, and we can provide that online information. Great River is here to answer questions, to provide transcripts, test scores, I'm available to sign all the PSEO paperwork. If you need a letter of rec, I am committed always to writing your student a letter of rec, no matter what they're applying to. I think I'm up to like 130 this year. I'm really good at letters of rec. And to support you and your family to make the best individual decision for you. Who do you contact? Matt is the Dean of Students. He ultimately signs off as the Dean of Students for PSEO. So he's the person actually to get the transcripts, not me, fun fact. And Teresa Hitchens Olson is myself, and I am the Director of College and Student Access. One more thing I will tell you, as the college counselor, when your student applies to colleges, I have to rank them. And that sounds scary, but it's true. I have to rank them with academic rigor. And the way that the ranking system is set up now is it is set up with the IB diploma being the most rigorous academic track a student can take. The second academic is the AP Scholar, which we do not offer. The third academic would be IB classes, which we do offer. And then the fourth would be just general classes with no IB or AP program. Where PSEO falls in that for rigor, and I understand that it's a college course, it falls into that fourth category because there is no way for a college to know to compare what the rigor is between each different colleges, like Concordia versus Hamlin, Hamlin versus McAllister. So they do not see if your child goes to a PSEO college, which may be more challenging. They just see the ranking as being in the fourth and last place. And again, I just want to explain that if I understand we don't have like things like computer science or astronomy, and those things might be a student's passion, but there are other ways maybe to get it, or they may do lots of IB classes at Great River and then supplement that with a PSEO class, either online or at a university. So hopefully I have answered a lot of your questions, but that's the end of my slideshow.
So Teresa, one question that came up in the question and answer segment, can you talk about what colleges are looking for these days related to the SAT and ACT? And should my 10th grader be starting to think about taking those tests?
So wonderful, wonderful question. The SAT and ACT is, the thought process is that it's on its way out. 89% of colleges are not requiring the ACT and SAT. That includes schools like MIT and Caltech, which you would think would ask you to take them in math and science, and we're really big on it 5 years ago. But what they saw with COVID and how COVID has changed college admissions is that they saw it increased in accessibility for students to not have to take those tests. And it really wasn't a good indicator of success in college. So great question if you should take it. If you're a naturally good test taker, take a practice test. You can take them free at the library. I tell students all the time, it's like having sprinkles on a cookie. If you have a high ACT score, it sprinkles on the cookie, and everybody chooses the cookie with sprinkles on it. So if you think that that's something that you're going to test well in, then by all means, just practice and try. Another fun fact is you don't have to send your SAT or ACT scores to any colleges. In fact, you shouldn't check the 2 free ones in the back because you don't know what those scores are. And so just wait and see if you take the official test, how you do. And then in your college meetings with me, which there will be many, we can talk about whether your score matches your transcript and if it adds those wonderful sprinkles.
Thanks, Teresa. I'm seeing no other questions coming into, I'm going to double check the chat or the question and answer. But Teresa, you're going to stick around for IB as well in case we run into more questions about college access. Okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll transition away from PSEO and we'll talk about something that all of our 11th and 12th graders at Great River, if they're a traditional education student, are involved in, which is our IB program at Great River. So our schedule for the evening in terms of IB is we'll do some basics of what is the IB and how IB at Great River School is unique. Then we'll look at the rising 11th graders program and IB course options. And then we'll talk a little bit about how do we make this decision? How do we decide what's best for us? And hopefully we'll hear from a few alums along the way. We'll continue to keep watching the questions coming in the question and answer button available on your Zoom. The process for all of our grade 10 students. Welcome to tonight, March 15th. This is IB Info Night. We'll give students time in March to talk to the people close to them, the adults in their life, regarding their IB fit and their course options. And then due March 31st for all 10th graders is IB registration, which we're going to post on Schoology after this presentation. We will review all of those registrations that come in throughout April, and we'll contact families if concerns arise. And then in June, all of our Great River School students will finalize their signups for their courses for next school year. So first, some basics. What is IB? Like Teresa said, we have a lot of acronyms at Great River School. So IB is the International Baccalaureate. And the reason that we believe in the IB at Great River is it supports and partners with our Montessori mission. So you probably know the Great River School mission. We're an urban Montessori learning environment that prepares students for the unique roles as responsible and engaged citizens of the world. And you can see that IB mission that I put on this slide is just such a natural partner in so many ways, helping to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. We are really proud of our partnership with Montessori and IB, and we know that's very unique. And so I just want to shout out if you know a rising 11th grader that isn't at Great River School already, but would love to be an IB student and their school doesn't offer it or doesn't do the partnership of Montessori and IB, let them know about us because we often enroll new students into our grade 11 IB cohort. Some things to know about IB: it is an international program. It was founded for students to be able to travel as expats from country to country and have a consistent international education. Like Montessori, a lot is expected of students. It is a rigorous program. Like our Montessori philosophy, we expect a lot of students through, for instance, care of the environment and key experiences. And the IB is a credential recognized by universities around the world. I really do want to emphasize, I think this is a beautiful quote from the IB website that just shows, if we look at these highlights, for me, this is what I'm passionate about being at Great River. I just think the IB's focus on thinking critically and independently, asking the right questions, being able to become literate about the news in front of us, focusing internationally or on the whole person holistically. It just, there's so many things that stand out about the partnership of the IB mission and the GRS mission. I do want to emphasize that a common misperception is that the IB is the same as advanced placement in the United States. And I don't think that could be farther from the truth. The only thing that they do have in common is students are able to receive college credit at the end of their AP or IB experience. You have probably heard of AP. It exists at many, many, many schools in Minnesota. The IB is more unique than that. We're one of only 20 schools in Minnesota to offer IB, and the IB really focuses holistically on the development of the whole person. Reflective practices, the full IB learner profile of 10 traits that we hope our human beings that walk away from Great River have developed. It's student centered and inquiry based. You probably know that your student, if they're in an IB class, will take it for 2 years to allow for more in-depth study. And I do want to emphasize that it is really internationally focused and centers diverse voices. But like most academic programs throughout the world, the IB is pausing and taking a deep look to become more anti-racist in its curriculum. You can learn more about the IB at ibo.org. They have all sorts of resources and research to learn why the IB program is a unique curriculum across the globe. We also want to emphasize that we're proud that we're a unique IB program in terms of the 20 schools in Minnesota that offers IB. All of our 11th and 12th graders, if they are at Great River School as a traditional student, as opposed to a PSEO student, are in IB classes. And 10th graders will get a choice between their IB route. They'll either complete the full IB diploma, which I'll talk about in a moment, or they'll be in some IB core courses and then take GRS electives of their choice. So what makes IB at Great River School unique? I would highlight 4 main things. You might not know that we're the only school in the whole state of Minnesota where all of our 11th and 12th graders are enrolled in 4 IB courses: IB Literature, IB Mathematics, IB Science, and the vast majority also take IB Global Politics. We believe in this IB for All because it allows all of our 11th and 12th graders to have different perspectives, different life experiences, and voices all within one classroom. And it doesn't allow for the elite school within a school to evolve that acts as a gatekeeper for certain students in our community. We do not have any admissions requirements to our IB Diploma Program. We are unique in that we offer intervention support for a variety of students taking IB. And I also want to highlight that our IB Diploma cohort, both the 11th and 12th graders, they're so cute and precious. They're such a close-knit group and they're very supportive of each other. And we support that family feel by IB Diploma Advisory one time biweekly. So those are some things that make us unique in terms of the IB program at our school. So now let's get to the exciting stuff. What do 10th graders actually get to decide about their 11th grade future? The first thing they get to decide is whether they want to complete the full IB Diploma Program or be a non-diploma student still taking IB classes and also some GRS electives. The difference between the two: if a student chooses to be a non-diploma student, they take those 4 core courses with their peers: IB Literature, IB Math, IB Science, and IB Global Politics. And then they have a lot of flexibility in how they fill out their schedule. They might choose to take IB electives such as IB Spanish or IB Music, but they could also take non-IB electives. So an example would be Ethnic Studies with Sarah Garton or Personal Finance with Sarah Hansen, Musicianship with Zach Scott. Those are some examples of non-IB courses at Great River that are electives. All students still participate in our Wednesday CAS program. And I want to emphasize that all students, both diploma and non-diploma, can register and take IB exams in grade 12, so they can have access to that college credit that IB offers. The IB Diploma Program, what you see on the left highlighted in blue, that is a full program. Students will be scheduled into 7 IB courses, 3 higher level, very advanced courses, and 3 standard level courses. And additionally, they will be in a philosophy course called Theory of Knowledge. They'll write an independent extended essay about 4,000 words in their grade 11 spring as part of their diploma experience. And like all Great River School students, they will complete CAS and have slightly more requirements as part of their diploma. It is important to note that if a student chooses their diploma path, they are not able to take any non-IB courses. So they would not be able to take chemistry, they would not be able to take choir, etc. We have made very few exceptions in the past. I just really want to emphasize that non-IB electives are very, very tough to schedule into the diploma experience. One 10th grader asked today, yeah, but like if I choose the diploma, how do I actually get it at the end? And that's a really good question. Students at the end of their senior year will sit down and take their May exams. And in addition, throughout their 2 years, they will do big projects that will package up and send in. And all of that full profile gets added up into points and is awarded. And if a student earns 24 total points, so an easy way to think about it is a student earn about a grade of a 4 in each of their classes. They will earn their IB diploma and get a nice certificate in the mail and be able to walk into college and say, hey, college, this is exciting. That's how it earns their diploma, is through the awarding of points. Both diploma students and non-diploma students can earn college credit, as I've said, and here are some examples. You'll see on the left-hand side that I've picked a few colleges that students at Great River often apply to. And along the table, you'll see different IB courses Great River School offers. So for example, if a student wanted to attend the University of Minnesota and took our IB Literature HL course with Andrea and Sophie throughout 11th and 12th grade and took their exam and earned a 5 overall for that class with IB, they will get credit at the University of Minnesota. It's also important to note that if a student does complete their IB diploma, some colleges offer additional rewards. For instance, at the University of Minnesota, 8 semester credits will be awarded for HL courses 5 and higher, and up to 2 semester credits for SL courses as extra reward for getting a diploma. In that way, it's often explained to me that having the diploma at the University of Minnesota is similar to walking in as a sophomore instead of a freshman. As I send out this PDF and make it available to families, notice there's a link on the bottom where you can explore different universities and learn whether IB credit is available at those universities. I am going to include some reading for families and a few videos if you would like to go back and look at the research for what do we know about the benefits of that full IB diploma program. I included some information that we get from our alums about their feedback on why they are glad usually that they did the diploma program. Some research that's been done within the United States and internationally about how the diploma helps prepare students for college. And a admissions extraordinaire from Stanford that explains how universities usually view the International Baccalaureate. So those will all be available and linked within the PDF that will be available for families at the end of this presentation. Again, all 10th grade students have a lot of choices when it comes to their courses. So here are some choices that they'll have available, whether they do the diploma or not. These are all of the IB courses that Great River School offers. You can see that there's 6 categories of IB courses: IB Mathematics, IB Science, IB Electives, IB Literature, IB Global Politics, and IB Spanish. If a student chooses the diploma route, notice some of these are highlighted in red as HL courses. They will need a total of 3 HL courses in order to pursue the IB diploma. The first question all 10th graders should ask themselves is, what IB math class might be right for me? Again, all 10th grade students will take IB math next year, and it's just a matter of choosing whether applications math class will be right for them or analysis. Students doing applications are often passionate about the humanities. So thinking about going into literature or fashion or political science, working with humans, IB math applications might be for them. IB math analysis is an extension of the theory we start to see in Algebra 2 and pre-calculus. And so students thinking about going into engineering or the sciences or mathematics or medicine will want to choose analysis as their path. The students' math guides will help recommend the right fit for your student as we head towards the end of the year. IB Science, we're excited to offer sports, exercise, and health science again, and IB Environmental Systems and Societies. Students can take 1 year of each, but if you want to take the exam for either of these, you must take it for the full 2 years of the course. Sports, exercise, and health science is like an anatomy and physiology course. If you're thinking about going into the health sciences, like a field like becoming a nurse or becoming a doctor, that would be an awesome high school course to take. And environmental systems and societies looks at all aspects of our world and environmental systems and how they function. So looking at climate change and energy production, going on a lot of field trips to the woods to collect samples. We've offered ESS for a long time and are proud of the hands-on experience that ESS provides. SCHS is a newer course, and we're also excited to continue building that program in terms of the hands-on nature of it. Students might also choose some IB electives. I have linked within this PDF descriptions of each, including a nice little video from Randy about IB visual arts. So feel free to dig around there as you make that decision. And then for students not pursuing the full IB diploma, you will get to choose whether to continue Spanish in grades 11 or 12. We know that Spanish is an amazing experience for college transcripts and for brain growth, but we also know it's not for everyone. So some potential things to consider: IB Spanish in 11th and 12th grade is rigorous. It is an IB course. If you're passionate about taking things like ceramics and musicianship at the same time, that would fill up your schedule. So you wouldn't be able to do 2 non-IB electives. IB Spanish takes the place of an elective. And again, it is a more rigorous course than non-IB electives. So then how do you decide what is best for you? I want to take a look at our participant list And I think we don't have our alums with us yet. I'm still a little ahead from the time I told them. So, the most important question that 10th graders can ask is being a little selfish and saying, what's best for me personally? The IB diploma, full 7 courses, or being able to be a little more flexible with my route and take a combination of IB courses with my peers and GRS electives. What's best for me? The top reasons that students in the past have chosen not to do the IB diploma program and instead do just a mix of IB courses and GRS electives, like I've said previously, it allows for so much more freedom and in scheduling and choice of electives. Some students have decided against the full diploma to really be able to focus in on their GPA and raising their GPA for better college access. It's definitely a less rigorous choice. The diploma is a very, very difficult program. If you want to spend time outside of school doing theater directing or sport training, then the IB diploma is probably not for you. That being said, I want to be really clear that we've had varsity athletes that are passionate about doing both sports at an elite level and the IB diploma at an elite level. It's really hard, but they could do it. And they were determined, and we supported them, and it was great. And then lastly, again, with that question of freedom, just note that you have less independent work time in the school day built into your schedule if you choose the diploma route. One other thing I will mention that Teresa also has reminded students in the past, if a student is really passionate about going into engineering, like getting into MIT or a really top tier engineering school, they absolutely need chemistry. And if they need chemistry, chemistry is only offered at Great River School as an elective course. So a student could not do both chemistry and be the IB diploma student, unless we did chemistry over the summer. Teresa, do you have anything to add to that note? I know you've worked with students in the past with that hardship.
It is specifically, it's not any engineering school. It is what is considered the tier 1 of engineering. So it would be Caltech, MIT, Harvey Mudd would be another one. And they're looking for specifically those HL sciences. I've had admissions officers review what our HL curriculum is, and they're getting a little bit more lenient about that chemistry requirement. So if those are some schools that you're looking at, I would just encourage the family to schedule a meeting with me and we can just look at that.
Great. So as you're thinking about your choice, and I know it's a tough one for 10th graders and families, but some guiding questions, thinking about what are my personal strengths? How do I define success and what's going to give me the best chance at that definition of success? What do my guides regard as my strengths? What have I enjoyed learning about? And what do my caregivers think? Because that's important too, because they love us and want what's best for us. So those are some questions to ponder as March 31st, that deadline to apply approaches. Some frequently asked questions about IB. Do all students have to take exams? Nope, totally optional. Unless you're a diploma student, the only way to earn your diploma is by taking your exams at the end of the experience. And you have a lot of time to decide. So you have until fall of your senior year to decide whether you want to actually sit your May exams senior year or not. Can a student be in the IB diploma program if they have a 504 or IEP? Absolutely. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. We will support you 100%. We are very experienced at working with students with 504s and IEPs in our diploma program. How much do IB exams cost? I want to emphasize that cost is never a barrier, including a lot of times there's no questions asked. Each IB exam is approximately $120, but Great River gives a lot of payment options, including the option to take it with no fee. So cost is not a barrier. What if I change my mind? I sign up for the diploma program and then I say, nope, this is too hard. We won't let that happen. If you say, I want to do the IB diploma program and I'm serious about this journey, then we're going to come around you and support you and cheer you on. And we're not going to let you quit. We will, like in extreme cases, sit down as a full team and say, you know what, like this is what's best for this student. And sometimes that will mean exiting the IB diploma group. But I really want to emphasize that once a student says they want to complete the diploma program, we are going to do everything we can to cheer and support that student to the finish line because we know it's hard. We know it's hard. But we also have seen the payoff and reward of all the smiles at the end when a student does cross that finish line. I am a big cheerleader of the IB diploma program and the IB program in general, as Teresa smiles and knows. But we also want to say it's really a personal choice, and the full IB diploma program is not meant for everyone and it's not best for everyone. So take some time to ask your teachers and people who love you about as you navigate this decision, and always reach out if you run into some questions. So what is next for all of our 10th graders? We have an action item that needs to be completed by March 31st. I'm going to post this IB registration form on Schoology. It will be really easy to complete if you're not going to pursue the diploma, because it will just ask what courses are you interested in taking, and you have to press about 4 buttons. And if you are registering for the diploma, it is a longer application. It will require about 15 minutes of your time because it's all of the registration information that we need to register you with IB as official diploma student. So that is what is next. And I don't have any other content. So Teresa, on your end, can you by chance see any questions that have come in?
Well, may I say one more thing?
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say, I don't think could have any of us gone through the last 2 years that we've gone through and not talk about mental health and balance. And I think that's important when talking about the IB diploma and the IB program. Both Lindsay and I are really, really committed to that idea of balance. And sometimes when you hear the words academic rigor, it's not always followed by that. And I want you to know at Great River, we're always working, and specifically Lindsay and I are always talking about ways that we can make the program have that balance feeling to it and have that kind of mental health support so that students do not feel overwhelmed. So I just want to clarify that about academic rigor, because I don't want students to work harder. I want them to work smarter, and I want them to love learning. So that is super important. So I want to go in.
Thank you, Teresa. Any questions that you see on your end from the Q&A?
I do. I think you covered what are the IB electives already.
Yes.
And then who teaches 11th and 12th grade IB Spanish? That would be
Emily and Patricia share responsibility in our IB Spanish department.
And then the question is, if I wanted to go to an Ivy League, more prestigious school and decided to instead to take all IB courses and the IB exams rather than doing the full diploma, is there a difference? I would say I've had students, we have lots of students go to Ivy Leagues at Great River, we had like 17 students apply this year to Ivy Leagues. And there was no difference, honestly. So they do look at that IB diploma as more rigorous, so that gives you a little nudge. But again, the GPA matters, the relationship you have with your teachers, and those extra activities. Linz, can you describe exams? Are they tests like the ACT or SAT? And I'd also ask you to add about accommodations.
Great. So we also have our alum Kaya here. Kaya, thank you for joining. So I'll take the first part, and Kaya, if you can take the second part. Remember, part of the beauty of the IB program is that the IB takes multiple assessments into consideration because it's very holistic. So the exams in May are not usually multiple choice. They're just open-ended answers in the form of essays or being able to show like the way you solve the math problem. And there's lots of different ways to do it, and that's okay. And they really take all of the work that they can see on a student's exam paper into consideration. And Kaya, our alum, has been through the IB Diploma Program. Kaya, what could you say briefly about some of the projects that you do that we send into IB as part of your scores?
Yeah, so for me, I did the IB during COVID, so I think it was probably slightly different than it may be for you guys. Um, but for me, I had mostly papers and projects, and I took Enviro, and that one was one I really, really liked. And it's kind of a choose your own adventure. You usually get to do something that you're interested in, and there are guidelines, but it's still very much like, what topic do you feel you could connect to the things you've learned in a meaningful way? And they're about, for papers, that's not the extended essay, about 1,200 words roughly, which felt like a lot when I did it, but now it doesn't. Um, so I really, they're not quite so bad, and I got a lot out of them. Honestly, I think my global politics essay and my enviro essay were probably the two that I learned the most through. So.
And
Can you say how many exams you took? Maybe you already said that during.
yes.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't have actual exams because of COVID. So did I do 6? I did 6.
Yes. Students will have an IB exam in each of their 6 main courses. The IB elective, so IB music, IB theater, and IB visual arts, is really dependent on the course. Some of the time, those tend to be very project heavy, and a student will not end up taking an exam because there are so many projects in those courses that we send in for them.
Lindsay, another question is, would an 11th grade student taking an IB diploma program have time to do a PSEO course?
No.
Yeah.
And Kaya, maybe you can speak to this. Can you speak to being a diploma student and the difficulty of that? And possibly if you think there are rewards, I would invite you to also share rewards of that now that you are almost 1 year into college.
Yeah, well, initially I decided to do the diploma partly because Great River offered it and partly because my parents thought it would be beneficial. So there was some parental decision making there. And initially I was kind of like, this is going to be really hard, but if I end up not liking it, I can always drop it later. And I ended up doing the entire thing, and I'm really, really glad I did. I think it was definitely challenging, and having Great River teachers to support you was really, really helpful. And also, I think it prepared me incredibly well for college. And I think if I hadn't had that kind of like essay writing, like critical thinking background, I would not be doing so well in college. And I think it's just a really valuable experience. I've also bonded with people, just meeting them here and being like, I did IB, did you take TOK? And then they're like, oh my God, I was an IB student. And it's just kind of, that's, maybe different, but it's still exciting. And I am really, really glad I did it. I think it really, really changed my academic career for.
And just on cue, we also have Lily, who was an IB diploma student similar to Kaya, but I want to also offer a differing perspective. You will see Tony on your screen, who chose not to pursue the IB diploma, and that was the right decision for him personally. So I'm going to turn it over to Tony about why he chose not to pursue the IB diploma, and a reason that he's really glad he took an IB class called IB Visual Arts. So Tony, over to you.
Hello, I'm Tony. I'm currently a student at Rochester Institute of Technology, and I'm studying industrial design. And so, yes, I chose to not do the full IB because, like, at the moment in 10th grade, I was like a captain on the ultimate team at that point. I had a lot on my plate, and I was like, I think I might be good with the for not doing IB right now. And yeah, I really do like that I chose that decision. Like I do see a lot of benefits. Like I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't have to do any of my gen eds. This is awesome. But like I'm enjoying my gen eds. I really am. Like they're not that bad. Just doing them obviously costs more money, and if you got them out in IB, you don't have to pay that money, blah, blah, blah. But along with that, yeah, taking IB art was like the best decision I think I ever made. Going into art school, especially, like I think it's giving me such a huge leg up, like over people that haven't taken a class like that. Like it's so rigorous, and it makes you really, really work hard. Like it changes you, it changes your mental, and it has made college so much like more enjoyable for me. I think so, taking it.
Thanks, Tony. Lily, do you think you could speak to the close-knit community of IB at Great River School, and especially the students who take the diploma together?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to separate like GRS from like IB at GRS because it's such a big part of high school, and like the GRS community. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I think that like the sense of camaraderie, and also like what Kai was saying about meeting other students who have done IB at college is really, really cool. And like especially it's really fun to just talk to your classmates, and like in college, like people that I've met who have done the diploma, about like what they wrote their EE on. And like I think that speaks to like my favorite part of doing the diploma was I really got to pursue what I was interested in. Like I got to focus on really niche topics, like with my EE and doing IB visual art, which I highly recommend. Also, like one of the best academic decisions I've ever made. Like I got to really find out what was interesting to me, and it's cool to do that, to like see your classmates doing that as well at the same time as you, and like I don't know, just like bouncing ideas off of each other. And that's one thing that I think is so cool about GRS that like really transfers over to college, is like it really is like a community of learners, like talking about what you're interested in with your classmates is something that's like really happens a lot in college, and like is really fun about college. And I think it's cool that college wasn't like the first time that was happening to me.
Thanks for all of your perspectives. One last question. All of you took IB Visual Arts with Randy, which often students are so surprised that there's writing in IB Visual Arts because it sounds like a fun art class. Can you speak to how much writing you had to do in Randy's IB Visual Arts class? Tony, maybe start with you and then move to Kaya.
Yes, lots of writing. I'd say it's probably about a 50-50 between like making art and writing. Like most, when you're in class, you're making art, like that's your time to make art. It's like you almost get all your work done in class, you're drawing, painting, whatever. And once you're done with your artwork, you write about it, like how you made it, what your experience with the medium was, what your inspiration was. So yes, it is a lot of writing, but it is important, especially now I can see in art school, like you need to put your thoughts in your head down on paper, and let you grow as an artist.
Kaya, anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean with the IB, you will be writing a lot. Like there's kind of no way around that. I wrote a math essay for the first time in IB, which I actually had to do at Carleton this fall. And I think there's a good balance, especially with Randy. I think she's probably one of the best teachers I've had before. And you learn, it's not just visual, it's also like art history, and it's kind of mixed in there. So I mean, I think we'd all vouch for IB art, obviously, but I think that I would recommend, if you're even sort of interested, just take it. It's fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
We have one more opposing voice joining us. So these three students talked a little bit about IB Visual Arts with Randy at Great River School, and they were big fans of it, and it paid off for their university journeys. But Isaiah Curtis took IB Music instead with Zach Scott. Isaiah, can you speak to the reward of taking IB Music with Zach Scott?
Yeah, well, I guess there's more writing than you think also. But the work, I would say like half the work is like creating music, which is really fun and really challenging. Like I have some music skills, but I wasn't like super talented, but it kind of forced me to just to make a lot of stuff. But definitely the best part is like getting to play with your classmates and like do the concerts and stuff.
Amazing. And I don't have an IB Theater alum present with us tonight, but I do have a message from Colorado where Lucy Rogers, one of our 2021 alums, is. And I will put her words into the chat. This is a shout out for IB Theater with Carolyn. And that is now for everyone in the chat.
I also would just say like Ruby, one of my closest friends, did IB Theater, and I think like if she was here, I think she would talk about just how fun it is. Like IB Theater seems like a lot of fun, and I know that people who do IB Theater like have so much fun. So I don't know much about IB Theater, but I do know that.
Alums, thank you so much for your wisdom and words. Any last piece of advice for grade 10s making their IB decision?
I would say try it out. You can always drop out. I think like all of the like I don't know, my EE is like my favorite thing that I've ever done academically, and like I don't know. It's just super fun actually. And like it sounds like a lot of work, but it's just a lot of fun, and you get to like make all these connections and just like find out what you're interested in, and just like the teachers at GRS are so supportive, and it makes it so much easier, and it's really awesome. So you should try it or not.
Raise your hand if you used your EE for research on your college application. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lily, I'm very happy for you to hear you describe your IB diploma experience as fun, because I remember some hard moments throughout the journey, like all students who do the diploma run into. So I'm glad that on the other side of the finish line, you can look back on it as a fun experience. Alums, thank you for your wisdom and words. You can head out, and we appreciate you and continue to love you. Come back and visit anytime. Teresa, any last questions in the chat before we close the evening? Or I should say questions in the Q&A as well. Oh, wait, I can't hear you yet.
Sorry, is there a syllabus for the IB courses or a more thorough description of each course?
Yes, they will be linked in the PDF we send out to families after this presentation, and they are all Googleable. So for instance, if you wanted to read more about IB environmental systems and societies, you can simply type in IB Enviro into your search bar, and a course description of it will pop up, since it is a course offered internationally at 5,000 schools around the world.
This is actually a wonderful question. What if an upcoming junior, I mean, they're all wonderful, but this is a great question. What if an upcoming junior attends GRS next year and he or she or they don't realize about the IB program until they come in, and it wasn't a part of their last goal? That's a great question.
That is a great question. I think our administration does a really awesome job as families are applying to Great River School, letting them know about our IB program and getting them connected to me. And I love chatting with incoming students about whether the IB diploma program might be a good fit for them. So I am in touch with new students as they enroll.
That is all I'm seeing, Liz.
Okay, we'll watch the chat for just a few more moments, and otherwise, just a friendly reminder that Teresa and I can be reached via email as you run into questions, and think about your March 31st deadline and decision. Again, that registration and the resources will be posted for students on Schoology, and families will be receiving some follow-up information in their emails shortly within the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay, thanks everyone. Teresa and I will stick around if there's any last questions that come in, but otherwise, please enjoy the rest of your evenings. Algebra 2 students, get your project done, and we'll see you shortly. We'll see you tomorrow, students and parents, I'm sure somewhere along the line.